Hi there, everybody. This is Dr. Heather Deniston with Well Fit and Fed, and this is the Junk You Should Know show. I just went live a second ago, and sorry, I can see I've got like a little bit of lipstick here. I just went live a second ago, and there was no screen, and so I hope you find me here instead. So when you come on, please give me a hearts or a thumbs up. Please comment in the section below where you are coming from. I want to know where my viewers are coming from. I would love to know about what you're doing this long weekend. So do share that with me. I would love to hear from you. Couple things we always do for those that just want to stop by for a couple seconds. The royal we, I guess that's me. I try to do a mini junk. And the one I'm going to do today is kind of weird. So I've been thinking and reading a lot about habits and about incorporating habits in your life and about ease of habits. And I was putting on this shirt today and I thought I should talk about this. And any of you who have seen my shows know that I usually show up in a variation of this, okay? An athletic top, usually the same style. There's one from Lululemon that works really well for me. I have it in every color and that's what I wear all week long. And why do I do that? Because CEOs of big major companies like Microsoft can't be wrong, and Facebook, a lot of very, very busy and important people wear the same thing to work every day. And why do they do that? They do that because they know that your brain has only so many decisions it can make in a day. And if you can create ease in some of the daily rituals that you have, that it doesn't have to be a choice every single day, then that leaves room for you to put your brain glucose toward bigger decisions. So I wear the same shirt every day, just a different color. And the reason I do that is because I don't want one more dang decision to have to make when I could be doing decisions for my business, etc. So that is the mini junk, the wellness mindset mini junk that you are getting today. There you go. Now, I also want to say, I can't remember if this or the last one was our 20th show, but it is my 20th show and I'm so excited and I am having so much fun with this show. I love it. And I know CBS is going to call me any minute and ask me up to the big show. So enjoy this while it lasts because it may not go on forever. I'm just saying. Okay, we are going to get into the content for today. Today's show is called How the Cashew Slipped Through and Other Paleo Myths and Mysteries. And I am so excited you're joining me today. We do have a minute while people are joining to talk about the Change Cave, because the Change Cave is our sponsor. And the Change Cave is a 12-module online learning institute that is so much more than a course. It is a community, it's accountability, it's resources, and I want you to be a part of it. I want you to know about it. And so all you need to do is go to bit.ly/TCC land, and I'm going to put that link down below, and learn a little bit more about the program. If you are a woman between 35 and 60 and you are interested in upping your wellness game and learning about your own personal wellness why, your personal improvement plan, your 90-day goals, and this module that we are doing right now is called Fast Fitness. Every month we rotate into a new module of wellness so that we can make long-term change, not just short-term change that we fall off after 30 days and then we're frustrated because we're not making our goals. So please come check it out. I would love for you to see it. It's only $23.99 a month, cancelable at any time for the price of a t-shirt. You can check it out and see what you are missing. Okay, so how the cashew slipped through. That's what we're talking about today. And there are a lot of different points about paleo that I think are confusing or that people are misinformed about. And we are going to touch on every single one of them today. So get comfortable, get your glass of water, and we are going to go through all of them. And if while I am going through them, you have a question, put it on down below and I will try to get to it at the end for sure. So the very first one, and I am just going to double check that this is running live because there is nobody, and maybe there's just nobody, but most often there is somebody on here. So I'm just going to double check that. Yep, it looks like we are going. Perfect. Is nobody, and maybe there's just nobody, but most often there
is somebody on here. So I'm just going to double check that. Yep, it looks like we are going. Perfect.
Okay, moving on. Oh, that was funny. Oh my goodness, I cracked myself up. Okay, very first, here's the first myth. Paleo people eat tons and tons of meat. They are cavemen and they just scarf down practically raw slabs of meat and that's what they eat. Well, it's not true. Most paleo practitioners that I know eat more vegetables than vegetarians do. And that is what the program is about. It's not about scarfing down dozens of ounces of meat. It is about eating a whole food, well-sourced diet that is in alignment with what we ate with our hunter-gatherer ancestors when we were at our most healthy. And so you do not need to eat 27 ounces of meat at a sitting. In fact, paleo enthusiasts do not recommend that. You eat 4 to 6 ounces. You try to get protein every time you do decide to eat. You use humanely raised, grass-fed, free-range, organic, unfarmed sources of meat. And you just try to eat lean, healthy meats. And actually, fat, of course, is not bad. I don't want you to think that. But we do want to just eat really well-sourced meats, okay? And again, the veggie thing, because we're not eating grains, paleo folks tend to load their plate. Hi, somebody's here. Please check in and say hello. Tell me where you're from. Because we eschew grains and legumes and dairy, the rest of our plate tends to be a multitude of colorful, lovely organic vegetables. And so that's myth number one. Paleo people do not eat a ton of meat. In fact, I know quite a few paleo people that eat reduced protein and they focus more on the rest of the whole food options available to them on paleo. Number two, paleo diet is too low carb. This was more of an argument before keto came out. And when keto came out, a lot of science came out along with it. I think keto did a better job of getting peer-reviewed studies and different things happening when we do a pretty low carbohydrate diet. Now, so if you are interested in a super, super low carb diet, then keto is probably a really great choice for you. Paleo doesn't have restrictions on carbohydrate, and it's not about low carbohydrate. The doctrine isn't low carb for the sake of it. The doctrine is low or no grains, which by the very nature ends up lowering your carbohydrate intake. And so the idea is let's get rid of the grains that cause a multitude of health issues, including gut interruption, all the way to leaky gut, inflammation throughout the body, all sorts of problems. And because our grains are largely heavily treated, especially in America. It's a little different in Europe and some other countries. But that's why we do that, is because of the negative impact on the body, not because it's a carb for carb's sake, okay? So paleo diet is not low carb. It is no grain, which again will lower your carbohydrate intake. And know that the science coming out is very positive toward a higher fat, healthy fat, lower carbohydrate intake being so beneficial for so many different health issues and longevity, anti-aging, all sorts of things, brain function. Next one. Legumes are not allowed, but cashews are. Why is that? How'd the cashew slip through? That's the title of our talk today. Well, big reveal, cashews are not a legume. And they are a seed from the cashew apple. Most people don't know that. And the problem with legumes, because then we're left with things like soy and lentil and different kinds of beans, it's two things really. Phytic acid or phytic acid, depending on where you're from, tends to block absorption in the intestinal tract. So it's not a problem in and of itself, but it limits the other nutrients that you can absorb in your intestinal tract. Number two, lectin. Lectin is an irritant. It's highly inflammatory and it can lead to leaky gut. And so legumes, the way they're raised, first of all, they tend to be chemically treated. They're very hard to digest. They can cause inflammation and irritation, leading all the way to leaky gut. they just can cause a lot of issues, and that's why we steer away from them. And because on paleo, you can get all the fiber you possibly need from rough vegetables and different sources of nuts and seeds and different things like that, so we don't miss them. Soy, I can't leave without saying that. We have to remember that soy is a legume, and it is the evilest of all legumes. So if you want to keep legumes in your diet, a portion of it, please, please, please get rid of soy. I'm going to put a link below for a website called The Doctor Within. He writes a very highly emotional account of raising soy in the US today. However, his data is bulletproof. And if you have an interest in wondering why soy is the devil, then you want to go and look at this particular article. And I'll put that link down below. All right. Paleo is trendy and a fad diet. Let's talk about what a fad means. Fad means there's an overfocus on food. There's a promise of quick weight loss. There's a focus on weight, not health. Paleo is none of those things. And let me tell you, none of us tend to call paleo diet, because it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. It encompasses food and nutrition, but so much more. It encompasses types of nutrition, the way we play, the way we sleep, the way we manage stress, the way we move our bodies. There's so many things that encompass a paleo lifestyle. It is above and beyond what you put in your mouth. So it is definitely not a fad. And I know I'm pointing out the obvious, but the whole concept of it is going back to our hunter-gatherer roots, which has been well established for millennia. And so calling it sort of a newfound, fandangled way of eating doesn't really fit. And so it's not trendy. It's not a fad. It is an option for people. I don't say everybody has to be paleo, but I do think it is a type of eating that is really worth exploring because it gets in touch and aligns with our DNA and with the way we are genetically made up. And it has been so helpful for me and so helpful for lots of patients and clients that I've worked with. Okay, paleo. Hi, whoever just joined, please say hello. Let me know where you're from. Paleo lacks calcium because they don't eat any dairy. I could do a whole day on this because the Dairy Foundation has done an exceptional job in promoting the calcium content of dairy, and that nothing else matches up to dairy for calcium support, which is simply not true. And the problem with dairy is the way we raise our dairy sources in the US is horrible and loaded with antibiotics and other chemicals. And then we get to pass that on into our milk cartons and our butter containers and all of those things. If you choose to eat dairy, on paleo, you want to choose a grass-fed source. If you choose to have butter, you can choose ghee, which is a clarified butter. You can also make clarified butter at home. And that is a much better way to consume. Clarified butter is not considered dairy, but if you choose grass-fed cheeses or that sort of thing, it's a much better way to consume dairy. But the concept is that dairy does cause inflammation. It's kind of interesting that we are the only mammals that drink milk past infancy and drink the milk of another mammal. Does that seem strange to you? It does to me. And I know from a personal standpoint, you guys, a lot of you know that I had a big weight problem. I have several autoimmune disorders, and I had tons of inflammation in my body. And the minute I got rid of dairy, so many things changed for me. And I will toy with it now and again, some grass-fed cheddar, clarified butter. And I just have to use it very discriminately. My body can tolerate it a little better now. But I do know if I eat even grass-fed cheese a couple days in a row, my body's like, not as optimal. So what are some dairy sources that you can use that are as good or better than milk and dairy products? Not dairy sources, calcium sources. That's what I meant to say. What are some calcium sources that you can use that are better than dairy or a great exchange for dairy? So we've got kale, we've got arugula, broccoli, almonds, small fishes, collard greens. There are a lot. And if you choose to have things like quinoa in your diet, you can get calcium from those things as well. And so those are some great options. And the dairy question is probably one of the ones I get the most. And so I'm pretty passionate about that just because of how poorly we process dairy products in the States. It is a recipe for holes being punctured in your intestinal tract and all sorts of mucus and inflammation. So just don't eat it because it's no good. Okay, next one. Paleo has way too much fat. This also was a big concern when paleo first became popular, but now that keto has been on the forefront for some time, and let me just define that paleo and keto are similar, but not same. Keto allows some wholesome grass-fed dairy. It encourages a higher fat content, typically a specific fat content per day. And that's what there's more focus on, is getting your body into ketosis. It also includes intermittent fasting and some different things. Paleo is a little bit more just about whole food and getting rid of anything that we didn't consume pre-agricultural, okay? Now, I remember my mom in the 80s, and if those of you who grew up in the 80s remember all the no-fat, low-fat whole thing, and we would have a fridge full of products that were no-fat and low-fat. And with my knowledge now, I think, how the hell did they make no-fat mayonnaise? It was a chemical crap storm is what it was. There was like 27 ingredients on that and every non-fat or low-fat product out there. And so thankfully, we have come full circle to understand that fat is not bad. Healthy fats are essential for brain function, for connective tissue, for digestion, for almost every process in your body. And you want an omega-3 rich fat like avocados, small fishes like mackerel, anchovy, sardine, some of the bigger fishes on occasion, salmon, halibut, those kinds of things. And you want to be getting it super regularly. And my strong recommendation is that you are taking a fish oil. And I'll put a link to a good fish oil down below. So paleo does not have way too much fat. I think most of us, now that Mercola and Hyman and Axe and all the big players are out there touting the benefit of a higher fat diet, I think we're all starting to get it. And so hopefully you've already incorporated some additional fats into your diet. Okay, next. Paleo means never drinking again. Nope, it doesn't. Let's talk about that. When you start on paleo, you might be in a healing, restorative type of space in your life. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to decrease inflammation, if you are trying to heal a gut, then yes, your paleo plan will likely include no alcohol because alcohol can be very inflammatory. Now, if you are further along and you are pretty healthy and you are using your paleo lifestyle as just a way of ongoing living, then many folks live paleo on an 80-20 rule. So 80% of the week they eat strictly paleo, 20% there's a little wiggle room. It's called adult choice, not cheating. And when we make adult choices to incorporate a little alcohol into our life, then we try to make the best selection possible, which is not a Blue Hawaii or a B52 shot. It is a vodka soda from highly distilled vodka, such as Tito's or Belvedere or that sort of thing, or it's a great glass of wine from a well-sourced, non-contaminated wine source. And let's just stop there for a second, because if you are not familiar with dry farm wines, you should be. They are amazing. The problem with American and Australian wines, I can't speak for Canadian because I don't know their practices, even though I'm Canadian, is that there are a lot of contaminants. There are nitrates, I can't remember which, but there are things in there that just naturally aren't meant to be there, but they act as a preservative and they make the wine taste different. And so we've kind of ruined what was originally a very beautiful fermentation process. Dry farm wines locates and secures beautiful, organic, well-grown wines and delivers them right to your house. And you get a different set every month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever you sign up for. So I'll put the Dry Farm Wines link down below, because if you enjoy a glass of wine on a Friday night, then choose a wine that is going to be in alignment with your paleo plan and that isn't going to derail your inflammatory process or your gut absorption process, okay? So we don't want to do sugary cocktails or types of liqueurs or things like that that are going to spike your sugar, that are going to create inflammation. We want to keep it nice and clean with a well-sourced wine or a fermented or distilled liquor product with just soda water or something very benign, okay? All right. And then I'll just show you that what I was saying was Dry Farm Wines. They are amazing. And I will again put the link down below. Okay, so what we talked about was how the cashew slipped through and the myths and mysteries of the paleo program. And hopefully you got some answers to some questions that you've been having about paleo, and it will encourage you to shift just whatever amount that feels right to you toward a more whole food, pre-agriculture, hunter-gatherer, ancestral aligned food plan. And if you have questions at all, reach out. I would be happy to help you. And do share this. If you have anyone that's struggling with weight or inflammation or pain, even sleep disturbances, shifting to a more paleo plan can be really helpful in this show. The information here may be helpful to them, so do please share it if you can. Okay, guys, I will see you next week. I'm very excited. Next week, we have Christine Hansen, who is a sleep specialist out of Luxembourg. And I don't know how I got on her schedule, but I did. And we have done an interview that is just going to be amazing. And I'm going to air that next Friday at noon PST. Have a wonderful long weekend, and I'll see you next week.